What's up, fam? Extraordinary Life with Elijah. And today, Azzy, Kailani, and my grandma are my extra, and I am the ordinary. Azzy, Kai girl, I'm so proud of you to be your daddy. You're both such beautiful women. You're growing into your full maturity more and more every day, and it's such a joy to get to walk with you, to encourage you, impart wisdom and love to you, and helping nurture you into the full expression of who God has you to be. And Grandma, I have to receive this one later once I get to be with you in heaven. I'm so proud of you and the legacy that you've built through your family. I bless all three of you in Jesus' name. Family is going to be more of a just walk in the park and talk together than it is any specific lesson with an encouragement per se. But here, back on Tuesday, July 11th, 2023, both Kailani and Azriela committed their lives to Christ on the same night. Family, it was so beautiful that I have been doing a week-long ministry with my friend Will up at YAA camp with his youth group, the Woodcrest youth group. They'd come out from Minnesota to do a work week, serve the camp, and then in the evenings I'd go up and we'd do worship together and just press in, pursue the Lord. It was so beautiful. I came back, was on fire from what God was doing in our times together, and talked with Charlotte for quite a while heading to bed, telling her all the beautiful things that God had done. And finally Charlotte said, honey, that's so beautiful, but before we go to sleep, I have something to tell you, and told me that her and the girls had prayed together and that the girls had committed their lives to Christ. And nope, oh man, I was gonna go record in the woods in a little treehouse in there. Oh my word, mosquitoes were so fierce. Goodness, I had to grab hold of a trunk of a tree and pull myself back down so they didn't pick me up and carry me away. Just kidding. It was super fierce. It was so beautiful to be able to chat with Charla and hear about how that process had come about. That as they were getting ready for bed, Azriela had started to ask Charla about the aspect of what is sin and how do we deal with that, and when I do sin, like how am I forgiven? And as Charlotte explained all that stuff to them, that then Azzy said, Mom, I want to do that. And she prayed. The next morning, as I asked Azzy what she had experienced and what decision it was that she had made, she told me all about it. I asked her, how did you feel, honey? Like what things were you experiencing? And she started crying again. She said, Dad, I was like laughing and I was crying, and I don't know what I was doing, but I just felt so much joy. It was so good. And Kai Bear said the same thing. It's such a joyful moment as a parent to hear that your children have committed their lives to following Christ all of their days. It was so beautiful. Then the next day that I got on my Facebook account and I saw that my mom had posted a remembrance of her mother having passed away 11 years earlier on May 12th, 2012. My grandma's birthday was on July 12th, and my mom had posted as a remembrance celebrating her life and the woman of faith that she was, and just honoring how much that her mom had imparted to her. That aside from my grandma having been born, given birth to my mom, and then my mom giving birth to all of her children, and then her children giving birth to all of her grandchildren, that none of us would be here if it hadn't been for the fact that my grandma had lived. And more than just existed, that my grandma lived so well, that we were all so proud of my grandma and the woman that she was, and just getting to see how much she grew in her faith and her relationship with God in the last days of her life. That was such a testimony of the goodness of God and my grandma's faithfulness before him and seeking his heart. And it has left such a legacy of faith in our lives together as our family. I think it's so incredibly beautiful in the timing of God that my grandma's 2 great granddaughters would give their lives to Christ on July 11th, the day just before my grandma's birthday on July 12th. And that more than that it would be 11 years and 2 months past the time when my grandma had passed, such that 2 granddaughters would come to Christ on the 11th, 11 years after she had passed. Family, it's so incredibly beautiful just seeing the timing of God and the legacy of faith and his faithfulness in the earth expressed to those who love him. Family, like I said, not necessarily any specific lesson or insight to couple together with an encouragement other than the overflow of a heart of thanksgiving and gratefulness in seeing the movements of my father expressed in my family in a lineage and a growing momentum of faith and faithfulness in his goodness. That my grandma, having passed 11 years, 2 months, and then 2 granddaughters giving their life to Christ on July 11th, the day before her birthday on July 12th, just an honor and a testimony to her goodness and the faithfulness of her life before Christ in our family to guide my mom into a relationship with Jesus and faithfulness before him. And then my mom's faithfulness in my life to guide me into love and faithfulness before God. And then as I love my daughters, to then guide them into a love with Jesus is just so incredibly beautiful. And so finding just those little touch points of my father's fingerprints in the divinely ordered structures of time, of him just peeking through and saying, I love you, so overwhelms my heart to share that with you in a heart of delighted thankfulness before him, to share my joy with you. My encouragement to you, my grace imparted to you would be that you would likewise look for the little points of his grace spread throughout your day, such that the ordinary things of life that you may overlook could become extraordinary points of discovery to fuel your heart in worship before God. If you subscribe to what I'm doing, then hit the button, hit it, and then hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you love this video, you didn't just like it, hit the thumbs down button. Pray blessings on all of your days. I love you guys lots, and I will see you in the next video.